do you register all of your 250-gram quads? If not, what happens if you don't? Yes. I register all of my drones, whether they are 250 grams or not, since Part 107 operations require registration regardless of weight. And essentially all of the drones I own, I cover my bases by assuming that I will use them in a video and it'll be a Part 107 flight. So I register them all, every single one of them. Yep. You can't prove I don't. They've all got a remote ID transponder and my FAA number on them. And every time I fly them, a spotter is there looking at the drone and never breaking eye contact. Even when I fly like behind a tree or behind the barn, they're still maintaining eye contact and communication with me as required by regulations, by FAA regulations. And that means that I can sleep at night knowing that I have done everything I'm required to do and kept the world a safe and healthy and wholesome place for everyone. Why, I don't even know what would happen if I were to put a drone in the air without registering it, or if I were to lose my spotter, were to lose sight of the drone for even a fraction of a second. Why, just cats and dogs living together. And that's why I don't do any of that stuff. What would happen if you don't register your drones? Nothing. Nothing. Like, realistically, nothing. The FAA has very little resources for enforcement of regulations. And they are very, very focused on full-scale aviation and manned aviation, as they should be, because manned aviation is a direct risk to human life and health if bad things happen. And, some would even say that in a world where, air traffic controllers are going on strike and Blackhawks are flying and crashing with 100 feet of separation, and then the other airplanes are going down, some would say that the FAA has their hands full. Some would say. Realistically, I don't know of a single case where the FAA has brought action against someone for not registering their drone. Now, what they have done is some bozo does some bozo bonehead shit, like flying their drone over a football stadium during the game. And then they have a target on their back, and then the FAA throws the book at them. And one of the things they do is they say, you didn't register your drone. And that's a violation. So if you're a typical person who doesn't already have a target on your back, don't do anything to get a target on your back, and probably it will never matter whether you have remote ID or whether you register your drones. And there are people out there who say, well, you shouldn't say that, Bardwell. You should tell people the rules, and you should tell them to comply with the rules. Shut up. I will tell you the rules. And there are some rules that I believe in wholeheartedly. I think that the rules make sense. They're based in a desire and to make the world safer and better. And they have that effect even if they're not perfect. Right? Like, for example, fire codes, electrical codes. Right? I feel very strongly that buildings should be constructed according to fire codes and electrical codes, because that makes buildings safer for people to live in. And when they're violated, sometimes people get electrocuted and buildings burn down. So I would absolutely, if I was talking to electricians or talking to architects, I would say, yes, 100% you should. And they were like, do we really have to do this? What'll happen if I don't? And I'll be like, people will die. Do it. When it comes to FAA regulations about drones, I think in large part, they're not based on an understanding of how to make drones safer for everyone. They're based on, well, anyway, I won't say what they're based on, but they're not. I think that the main reason to comply is if you want to tick the box and not get in trouble. I don't think that complying actually makes the world safer in a meaningful way or better in a meaningful way. And so when I talk about FAA regulations, I say, here's what they are. And I comply with them because I have a giant target on my back by nature of the fact that I have a YouTube channel with 380,000 subscribers, and I'm sitting here right now saying the regulations. But I comply with them because that puts a target on my back. And I'm sure that someone at the FAA, if they've noticed me at all, would love to make an example of me. Well, good luck, I guess. But the reality is that if you don't register your drones, nothing will happen. With a statistical almost 100% certainty, nothing will happen. And if something does happen, it's because you did something else. You flew down a busy street, hit a car in the windshield as it was driving on the interstate, put a dent in an old lady's windshield. The local news picked it up, and then the FAA got 500 complaints from people who saw that saying, go crucify this guy. And the FAA decided today's your day to be the one in the barrel. So. Ein CB says, I'm still not sure if you're being sarcastic or not. I've done my job.